Cool. So I know a little bit about you just from watching some of your YouTube videos, but maybe if you wanted to give us a little background on your journey through poker, how you found the game, and sort of what led you to becoming a professional.
Sure. So my name is Gary. I'm 34 years old, originally from Scotland. I live in London now. I started playing poker probably around 13 or 14 years ago. I was a recreational player for a little while. We all were. I started playing on Facebook for play money, and then that sort of descended into playing for penny stakes with friends online. I've met a friend of a friend who was a professional at the time. I bombarded him with questions and information and started to get a little better at the game until eventually I took a humongous leap of faith and quit my job with a small bankroll and a dream, and somehow was able to make it to where we are today.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know they had play money poker on Facebook.
You never heard of Zynga Poker before?
Oh, it was Zynga. Okay, yeah,
Zynga,
sure.
yeah,
That's right. Facebook did buy Zynga. That's right. Okay, that
that's it.
makes
Yeah,
sense. Well, that's cool. I think that's a pretty unique way to find poker.
yeah,
Although maybe not so unique in the fact that it's play money, more just the Facebook of it all.
yeah. I
Um,
doubt there's many players that have gone from Facebook to professional, but here we are.
no, you might be the first.
Maybe.
Um, that's pretty cool. And so, from my understanding, you're mostly a cash game guy, right?
That's right. Yeah, I've been playing cash games professionally for nearly 11 years now. I'm predominantly an online player. I go to Las Vegas every World Series of Poker in the summertime, and I do play tournaments over the course of the summer. I find the cash games to be a little dry in Vegas over the summer. There's a lot more enjoyment for me playing tournaments. Um, there's more chance of glory. I'd love to win
Yeah.
a WSO pre bracelet. I'm lucky enough to win a few small side event tournaments, the Venetian and here in London and things like that. But mainly a cash game guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the glory aspect of tournaments is hard to ignore, but the
Yeah.
grind of them is a lot. So,
It's
it's hard.
yeah. It's grueling.
Whereas cash is kind of you can, at any point in the session you can just say, all right, screw it, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. Whatever it is you're feeling, you can just walk away from the table. In a tournament, you can never really do that until you're out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, hundreds of times over the course of the last 11 years, I have started up a session online, played about 10 hands, and thought, you know what? Fuck this. And just closed it down immediately. But if you fire out 20 tournaments and you feel like, fuck this, then unlucky for you, you're stuck there for at least 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, you don't win $500,000 in a week playing cash games, but you get to come and go as you please, which is much more advantageous.
Yeah, for sure. And you played recently on Hustler live stream, but I think
Yeah,
you played a couple times now, right?
I've been very lucky to play it 3 times. I keep Ryan Feldman, the owner. I ask him all the time. Whenever I go to LA, I ask him all the time, and he's very nice and kind to let me play a couple of times. The last time I played was 2 months ago. It was all very last minute. I found out an hour before the stream was started. I was super
Right.
excited, but I was so card dead. I must have played
Mm.
like 15 hands total over the course of a 4 hour session. And it's really frustrating because the game was really good. It was lots of action. I couldn't pick up any good cards. And it was a little anticlimactic in the end, which is unfortunate for me because it makes me look like a massive nit and it hurts my chances of ever getting on again. But next time in
Yeah.
LA, I'll just have to ask Ryan the question: would you mind if you've got a spare slot? If I could get on the show, I'd love to play. And maybe we get to play again and not be so card dead.
Yeah, being card dead on a live stream is probably gotta be the worst feeling
It's
because
yeah.
you wanna put on a show and you wanna show people, that you can play and that you have, some skills. And if you're card dead, you just never get a chance. That's pretty brutal.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it was very frustrating. But I mean, the worst part is that I played on the casino floor for like 4 or 5 hours, recording, making a vlog that day, and I was playing like half the hands, and it was like so much action, and I was playing so many big pots, and then I got up there onto the stream, and I was still in the same mindset and determined to play and all that stuff. I just couldn't pick up any cards. It was very strange how it just changed like that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and hopefully you get another chance to sort of show people what you got, because that's
Yeah, so, of
yeah. I'm sure Ryan will understand if you're card dead.
course.
There's not a lot you can do really.
He's also got 100 other pros texting him every day being like, "Hey, can I get a shot?" So I fully understand if it takes a little bit of time. But
True.
I
Yeah.
also I feel like there's a line that you cross where to the point where you're, like, pissing him off and you're badgering him, and as soon as you cross that line, you can't get back onto the right side of that line. So I do ask if I can have the opportunity to play, but I try not to overstep my boundaries because I don't want him to be like, "Look, stop texting me, you can't play."
Yeah. You don't want to you don't want to abuse the communication channel and end
Of
up
course, exactly. I don't want him to block me on Twitter, and then I'm fucked.
yeah, that would be really bad. That would be terrible. Sweet. All right. So you said you're also primarily an online guy, and definitely wanted to talk about coin poker a little bit. Uh, what exactly is it about coin poker that sort of attracted you to their site?
Honestly, I mean, as poker players, we look after number one, and the most important thing for me is I want to play in poker games that are, excuse me. Oh, I want to play in poker games that are good games. And Coin Poker has good poker games. There are recreational players. There are regulars who are not as tough as the regs that I face on other sites. And above all, there is traffic. You know, I wouldn't add a site to my repertoire. When you play mid stakes cash these days, you can't really just play on one site. You need to have two, three, four different sites that you play on. And I wouldn't add a site to my list of sites if I could only get, one table on the side. I'm not CoinPoker is growing and it's not quite at the stage where I can play all my action on CoinPoker, but it could well be that way one day. It's certainly growing, and there are days where most of my action is on CoinPoker. So, good games, good rate back, which is really important, and above all, the traffic is decent and it's steadily growing as well, which is obviously very important for us to be able to get enough volume in.
Yeah, I guess the growth aspect is probably the most important one right now. Just
Yeah,
for them in general. For you as well, you're obviously committed to growing the site, but for them, I mean, you got to build the player base, right? That's the only way this will succeed.
very much so, and they're doing all the right things. They're signing a lot of high-profile ambassadors in the game of poker, guys like Patrick Leonard, Mario Mosbrook. The list goes on. They've got a lot of great poker players on their roster, but they're also signing a lot of really big names. The Brazilian UFC, I'm not a UFC guy, so I've forgotten his name. Carl Froch, George Groves. Lots of big ambassadors out with the game of poker as well, which obviously helps to grow the game of poker, and obviously helps them. They've also got that, proof of reserves. Some people might be skeptical on playing on a website like CoinPoker because it's X Y Z, but they've got this proof that people's money is safe and they're not going to lose any money, which is obviously security is very important to poker players. And as you say, just growing the brand and the site and ensuring that there are enough players is critical, and they're doing all the right things, and it's very encouraging so far.
Yeah, that is really encouraging. It does seem like they have, a plan and they're sticking to it, and it's working for the most part. I think.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to talk about the reserve thing you mentioned, because
Mhm.
I understand the concept. From what I understand, it's some sort of a blockchain application kind of thing that allows people to just be super confident that their money's not going out the back door as soon as they put it on the site.
Yeah, that's essentially it. So what they're essentially proving is that they have more money than people have deposited, and it's sort of proven with this system that they've come up with. Um, so it's the assets are 1 to 1, and then a little bit more, so that if
Mm,
hypothetically every single person withdrew all their money at once, then everyone could have access to their money essentially. Whereas there,
okay,
not to name any names, but there have been websites in the past where that wasn't the case, where all the money wasn't quite there, for example.
I
So
see.
CoinPoker are proving to people that their money is safe, which, as I mentioned, is really important to be able to trust the website you're playing on, particularly if it's not backed up by the government and the gaming commission and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, trust with an online site like this is imperative. So
Mhm.
that show of good faith, I guess you would call it, is
Yeah.
really cool. That certainly would attract me to play on that site for sure. And
Mhm.
and speaking of attracting other players, anyone is able to join CoinPoker. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah, one of the great things about playing on Coin is that certain websites. Again, I'm not going to name any websites. We all know the sites that you can and can't play on, etc. You're limited to what country you're in. Certain countries can only play against other players within their own country, etc.
Right.
Coin poker is globally accessible, which is obviously a massive advantage to it. There are a lot of countries out there like the United States of America, France, Italy, Germany, not Germany, Portugal, etc., where you can only play against certain player pools. So being able to join a website which is available and you can play with players from all over the world is extremely appealing to a lot of poker players. So it's great that coin poker is available to everyone essentially. The way it should, I mean, not to go off on a tangent, but all poker players from all over the world should be able to play with all poker players from all over the world. But that's another argument for another day.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure. It should just be one big player base that
Yeah.
everybody has to battle against everybody.
Mhm.
Um, no, I mean it makes a lot of sense that coin poker is available to everyone. It just seems like the right strategy
Yeah.
when you're operating a site like this. Yeah, I mean that's seems a lot better than having to sort of restrict your player pool to a certain region or
Mhm.
uh, a certain place that obviously hinders your ability to grow. And so hopefully we see coin poker growing even more as a result of that.
Yeah.
Um, are there any uh, sort of exciting events or anything going on with coin poker? Anything down the pipeline that you know of that might be fun to tease out?
Coin Poker online cash game championship right now is running, which is incredibly exciting. All the best players in the world are battling against each other, rake
Mm,
free, which is great for them. It's great for us because it makes these players willing to battle. Some of the
yeah,
stuff that I've seen in this challenge is absolutely incredible. Like some of the players that are playing against each other for hundreds of thousands of dollars have started a voice chat so they can go in and like talk shit to each other while they're playing and stuff. It's
that's
absolutely
great.
incredible. They've got
I,
two guys that are playing against each other in the same room somewhere, and they're like yelling at each other, and it's like, don't give away any verbal tell. It's absolutely incredible. Some absolute sickos that are really driving the action. It's really really cool. And kudos to Coin for thinking about something like that. I think again, not talking about other sites, but they've seen that there's potentially a gap in the market for some high stakes action, and to draw those players in, they've set up this challenge, and it seems to be working really well so far. And long may it continue.
how does the challenge work? Is it just profit leader kind of wins at the end of it, or is it a point
Yeah,
tally or something?
whoever's up the most at the end is the winner. They win a really nice watch, and obviously all of the glory that comes with being the top player at the end of the day.
For sure, yeah, that seems really cool. Is there a
Yeah,
way for audiences to watch this or spectate the games or anything?
yeah, they're streaming everything on CoinPoker website, on CoinPoker's Twitch channel, live on YouTube. They've got some big names in the commentary booth. It's plastered all over their social media. So anyone that's interested in checking it out has got a ton of options.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I'll have to link to that as well then. That seems really cool.
It's
Are
awesome.
you playing in any of that, or are you not throwing your hat in the ring?
It's a little too high stakes for me, but one day it's in all seriousness, it's motivating for I play, 5-10, a little bit of 10-20 to see that, a few more steps up and we'll be able to play the 50, 100 with the guys. It's very motivating for the mid stakes grinders to look at that and think maybe that can be me one
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up is motivation
day.
in cash games especially uh is different than tournaments because tournaments obviously the motivation is the trophy, the top prize, the glory, whatever, what have you. In cash games there's way less glory, there's no trophies, What exactly is motivating you to grind out a cash game living?
The living itself, obviously, if you make it to high stakes, whilst you can't win $10 million like you can at the WSOP, there's still so much money to be made.
Yeah,
Excuse me, some of the guys that are the best cash game players in the world are making millions of dollars every year. So that in itself, it's
totally.
the answer is always going to be the money, the money that you can make and the lifestyle that comes with that, and the comfort and the security and things like that. It's unbelievably motivating to sort of win as much money as the best players in the world can, and it's something that we should all aspire to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But does sort of jumping the stake levels also motivate you as well? Like you were
Yeah,
saying, seeing those guys playing 5,100 and it's not far from you. Does that also incentivize you in a way to keep grinding just so you can be known in the cash game streets as one of those guys that can hang at the high stakes level?
very much so. I for the past 12 to 18 months, I have been doing well at everything up to 510. Making that next step up to 1020 has been very difficult, but
Yeah,
it's motivating to see that if I get to 1020, then I can get to 2550 and then I can get to 50 100 and play with these guys. So even though it is very difficult and it can be quite soul destroying to get slapped back down, which all cash game players can aspire to, we've all moved up a level and had to crawl back to where we were with our tail between our legs. It's very motivating to know that if I do get my foot in the door at 1020 and become a regular at 1020, then the next step is going to be awesome. And then the step after that. And that's where a website like CoinPoker comes in because that ceiling has sort of been there on other sites. And, if we can get mid stakes and high stakes action on CoinPoker, that ceiling becomes a little bit higher and there's more room for growth, which is obviously very exciting.
yeah, that sounds perfect. Actually, I mean, if the cash games keep growing like that, I feel like
Yeah,
it's inevitable that you'll just sort of take up a big chunk of the player base in the world,
hope
which would be
so.
cool to see. I mean, it's always cool when new sites come into the fray and shake things up a little bit, and I feel like it's always good for the players, like that having more outlets to play on, more spaces to go to is always a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have we had again, I'm not gonna keep wanting to name poker sites here, but there was a poker site once that had a monopoly and every player played on that website, and we all grinded really hard with the promise of getting 70% rate back the following year. And in November, they said, well, actually, we're not going to honor that. And because they were the top site and there was no other site, we all just kind of had to take it. Whereas when
Yeah,
there are more sites that are big and have a say, etc., if a site ever did that again, then we'd all say, right, well, we're just going to go to this site now. So it takes away
right.
the power from the poker sites, which is great for us as players, and it stops that sort of domination in the market. So as well as that, Touchwood Coin are doing all the right things, and they want to grow their business, but at the same time they want to create a good environment for poker players. If they, I would like to see Coin become one of the biggest sites in the world, and even the biggest, while still continuing to do the things that they're doing. It would be really great if they became the biggest site and they were doing these things and they were making this good environment and they were offering this rate back, etc. It would be truly fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah,
I'm
just
with you.
a website that looks out for the players, essentially. We're
Yeah,
seeing,
yeah.
again, not naming any other sites, but we're seeing some websites out there who are showing how little they care about the players, shall we say.
Yeah, I'm laughing. It's not it's funny, but it's not because it is
It's yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
mean,
just come on, guys, just do the right thing. Um, yeah, all right, man. It's exciting time, man. I really hope it all goes well. I'm just following along the whole thing and enjoying the ride. Um,
Mhm.
this has been great, Gary. I think I got pretty much everything I need. If there's anything I'm missing, though, let me know and we can chat about it right now. But I don't want to take up any more of your time if I don't have to.
No, I think we're all good. Is there anything else? I've got loads of time. If there's anything you want to ask me about or anything that you think we didn't cover, etc. I mean, yeah, whatever you think.
We
If
checked my questions off. I'm trying to think of other things we could talk about other than coin poker. Oh, are you doing anything this winter? Are you anywhere right now for the big tournament series, or are you staying away from those?
I am
No.
in the UK, I have an allowance of a time in America that I'm allowed to use with my fiance, and I have used it all up this year. So I am being a good fiance and spending Christmas and New Year at home. But planning to go back
Okay.
to LA and make some more YouTube content in January or February, um,
Nice. Okay.
and
Great.
then yeah, back to Vegas in the summer. So that's my plans
Okay.
for now. Grind hard, get my head down, grind hard online, and then branch out a little bit in January, February time.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty smart plan, and I'm sure your fiance is happy. She's got you home for the holidays. That's
Yeah,
nice.
very much so.
Uh, are you in London? What part of the UK?
London, yeah, but I'm going up to Scotland for New Year, for Christmas, in a couple of days.
Awesome, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna be, in London for New Year's myself.
Oh,
My
nice.
dad's all from there.
Where in the world are you based?
I'm actually based in New York City, in
Oh,
Brooklyn,
nice. Very
but my
nice.
yeah, grew up in London, and his whole family's still there, so we go back every couple years to see them, which is nice.
Brooklyn will prepare you for the cold that you're gonna feel when you're in London, so that won't be
Oh,
too
yeah.
much of a shock for
Well,
you.
it's just the London cold is that damp, wet cold that sort of
It's
soaks
miserable.
in your bones. It's so much worse than the cold in the US. The cold in the US isn't damp, it's not wet, it's just
This is
dry
true.
but freezing, and in the UK, it's like you feel it in your bones. It's like,
Yeah.
this is the worst cold I've ever felt. Yeah,
Well,
not excited.
hopefully you can push through that.
Yeah, I'll make it, I'm sure. We'll live. Okay, and then you said, summer back to WSOP, and you said, you fire some tournaments out there. Is there
Oh, yeah.
any particular tournament, maybe other than the main event, that's got you excited?
So I set my tournament schedule. I'll be honest, every tournament that's because obviously you've got like 7 different tournament series running at the same time, and
Yeah,
they're all very exciting. I've had some success at the Venetian. I was lucky to win a tournament there, but any bracelet event at the series, any live bracelet event is really exciting to me. They all feel the same, whether it's the main event, the Millionaire Maker, the 1K freeze out. They're all the same to me. Just the excitement of playing for a bracelet is incredible for me. So I don't play any win series or Venetian or anything like that. I just play the WSOP tournaments. And the days that, say there's like a 10K 8 game that I'm not going to play, I'll play some cash that day instead. But
sure.
all the bracelet events, I had a tough one last year. I only cashed a couple of events, but this year I'm quietly confident I can finally get my bracelet and then sail
Yeah.
off into the sun.
That would be great. I would love to see that. Just a full turnaround from last year. That'd be really
That
exciting.
would be awesome. Yeah.
Do you like the cash games, out in Vegas during the series?
So sometimes they can be a little dry, but sometimes they can be amazing and good fun. It just kind of depends, It
Yeah,
depends on the time of day, who's in town, all these contributing factors. Sometimes when they suck, they really suck. But when they're great, they're awesome. They're really, really good fun. And it seems to me there's no in between. They're either sucky
mm,
or awesome. You never get like
yeah.
a good game.